Hikichan.com is a website that is embroidered within the memory of many hikis that reside on image boards, and I can see why. It's a website that was entirely dedicated to people like us. It was a website that's culture was meant to propagate a sense of identity and community within people like us. When it left, when it died, a lot of us had nothing but rejoice in our hearts to see it falling, because honestly, a lot of people on that website were not Hikikomori, and I could tell when I went to the Wayback Machine to go to the website, because I was never on the website when it was active. I was never there. So I go to the Wayback Machine, I look at these posts, and most of the shit that I saw didn't even have to do with Hikikomori as a phenomenon. A lot of it had to do with like weird R9K faggotry and just random B-tard bullshit. There wasn't the same sense of community and identity that you would see on, say, a place like /Hikki on 8chan, where as soon as you go on that board, everything is about Hikidom. It is about being a Hikki. It is made by Hikkis for Hikkis. Very rarely, if ever, will you see a post that is not made by someone who was or is a Hikki. It just doesn't happen. And I absolutely commend the owner of that board and the people who frequent the board in general for being able to maintain that sense of community. And I think there are a few things that can be learned from them on that board that could be taken into account when potentially creating a new Hikichan.com, because the real fall of Hikichan.com wasn't necessarily a lack of resources. It wasn't the fact that Hikkis don't have money to pay for a Patreon and that ad revenue on such a niche site would not even be sustainable, or that the developers of the site got bored or anything like that. The real death of Hikichan.com was one of culture. The culture was toxic. It was stupid. It was terrible. It represented nothing that the name Hikichan would represent. The culture was of outsiders. It was of normies. It was of baby boomer scum. And they had infiltrated the sanctum of isolation. Because these two cultures were clashing so heavily, the real Hikkis were clashing with the fakers, and that the website ended up just being a cesspool of attention seeking. How do we prevent that? And how was Hikki on 8chan able to prevent that? Right out the gate, Hikichan involves everyone. If you read through the initial rules on the site, it says, while initially a Japanese phenomenon, the board caters for English-speaking hikikomoris, recluses, hermits, and whoever else feels that they have a place here. Right there is where they fuck up. Because they say, if you feel that you have a place here, you can be here. We're just going to allow every single person to come in here unadulterated with no regulation whatsoever. That leads you to having a truckload of normies from B and wherever else just coming here because it's an image board. People who frequent image boards will go to image boards because they like them, not necessarily because one image board is for their specific tastes. Some of us do that, but the way that that specific atmosphere is preserved is by hoarding those people off who just come to it for the anonymity itself. There has to be a way to keep those people out. It needs to be embedded within the culture of the site. If you don't do that, then it becomes like every other website, every other chan. And so Hikichan right here is claiming that they are a website specifically for that type of person, while at the same time, within their own rules, the doctrine by which the site is governed, it says if you just feel you have a place here, you can come in. That's where they fucked up. Now let us compare this to the pinned rules on the Hikki 8chan board. It lays out right from the get-go, welcome to Hikki, a place for reclusive adolescents or adults who withdraw from society. Right from the beginning. It says that's who it's for. And then, if you skip down to the bottom of the page, it says, things to consider. Hikikomori, by definition in English, means pulling inward or being confined, i.e. acute social withdrawal. A hikikomori is someone who withdraws themselves away from all forms of social contact and stays at home all day, either in the bedroom or the apartment they live in, usually for about 6 months or more. He lays out all of what that is as a phenomenon. He tells you what it is, and he tells you that the board is for those people. And then finally at the bottom of the rule set, he says, you must be a Hikki or a recovering Hikki to post here. If you are not, you will be banned. And right from the beginning, that rule right there tells you exactly who should be on the board, and if you try to not show that you are like that, then you are going to be banned. If you do anything that is not related to that, then you are going to be banned. And so even for people who are pretending, they have to, at the very least, keep up the appearance of being that type of person. And so all of the discussion on the board is mitigated. There's no people pretending or trying to be someone who they are not, because the very culture of the board is to keep people out who are like that. Everyone on /Hikki understands that if you are not that type of person, you cannot post here. People know, and if someone finds out that you are not that, you will be ostracized and thrown out. If Hikki-chan really wanted to keep the atmosphere and culture of being for Hikikomori, then they should have from the beginning done it like this. So now that I've pointed out what exactly went wrong with that website, I'd like to leave it up to you, the audience, people watching who have skills with programming or who know somebody who has skills in that matter. Make a new Hikki-chan.com and do it right, because I know there are many of us out here who want this website to come back, but in a better form. I know even people who hated the website have nostalgia for it. And you see flourishing communities on Discord, for example, and, somewhat fledgling communities on image boards these days, but they still exist nonetheless. And I feel like on a dedicated website, there would be cause for more Hikkis to come out and talk about their issues and talk about what's going on. And plus, another great thing about having it on a website contained like this is that on an 8chan board, for example, in order to have more threads come up, you end up having to delete old threads. And on a dedicated website, it's easier to archive every single thread to make it to where future generations can study what exactly we're going through the heads of individual Hikki, and then it makes the greater understanding of the phenomenon better, because more people can sit there and pick the brains of these people on these image boards. And so I think it's really valuable to have it as its own website, so no threads have to be deleted via 8chan's policies, which is what we've seen happen on the Hikki board on 8chan, is that the BO actually ends up having to delete certain threads in order to keep discussion continuing to flow, because there's only so many threads that can be there. But if you have the ability, please make a new Hikki-chan.com, because there's not too many forms of discussion for people like us out there. There's the Neat board on Oboe-chan, there's the Reddit boards, which Reddit is fucking trash, but there's the Hikki board on 8chan. There's not really much else. There's not a dedicated place for us the way that there was when Hikki-chan.com was around. And while that website failed, we can learn from their failures and do it right this time. And so with that, I'd like to shout out a few up-and-coming Hikki YouTubers. First of all, I want to shout out Hikki Life, who did this video about 10 ways to make money as a Hikikomori. Go watch his video. He's a new dude. There was this person named ULTCD, better known as Speed Dial on Reddit. She was making videos, or she made one, but it's gone now. It's deleted. So I don't really know what happened to her, if she's gonna continue making more or what, but I'll link her channel down there anyway, so you can, in case she comes back. And, yeah. Also, subscribe to Jablojard, the original Hikikomori neat channel. Subscribe to Jablojard. He needs subs and is a good boy and inspired my channel. Okay.